Your brain is beautiful and complex, built to keep you safe and guide you through life. Its main job is to protect you. But when you go through trauma, that protection can go into overdrive. It's like bodyguards constantly hitting the emergency button even when there's no real threat. Trauma shifts your brain into survival mode, reshaping how you think, feel, and act, sometimes long after the event has passed. It doesn't matter what type of trauma you've been through, whether it's physical, emotional, or psychological, stemming from your childhood or adult life. All forms of trauma impact the brain in profound ways. If you're curious about the different types of trauma, check out our previous video where we break them down in more detail. If you've experienced trauma, navigating life afterward can feel overwhelming, and you might even find that you're being a little too hard on yourself. That's why we created this video, to explore how trauma affects your brain. Understanding the neuropsychology of trauma can provide valuable insights to help you and other survivors move forward with compassion and strength. Tuning into senses. Were you startled by a sudden sound, even though it seemed like no one else in the room reacted? According to an article in Current Opinion in Neurobiology, trauma can affect how you process sensory information. You may become extra sensitive to sensory inputs, things like sounds, sights, or touch. Specifically, a traumatic experience can change the structure of white matter, a bundle of nerve fibers, and gray matter, a group of nerve cell bodies. These changes happen in your sensory cortex, a part of the brain that is responsible for processing sensory signals from the outside world. This is the brain's way of staying on high alert for any possible danger. For example, a normal sound like a door creaking or a phone vibrating might set off a stress response, even if there is no real threat. And over time, constantly being on edge like this can become so exhausting. It can make you feel anxious, uncomfortable, and unsafe in everyday situations. The body's whispers. Traumatic events can also impact how you recognize what's happening in your body, like being hungry or thirsty. Normally, your brain helps you pick up on these physical signals and lets you know when it's time to eat, drink, or rest, helping you stay balanced and take care of yourself. This process is called interoception, but trauma can cause the brain to ignore or misread these cues. Interoception educator Kelly Mahler states that trauma survivors may have trouble noticing when they're hungry, exhausted, or stressed. Has this ever happened to you? Not realizing that you're hungry or thirsty until your hands start shaking and your energy gets depleted. Not realizing you have to go to the bathroom until it's almost too late. This confusion about your physical needs can make it even more difficult to stay on top of your self-care, something that's incredibly important for healing from your trauma. Reward tokens. Maybe you've noticed that your hobbies or interests have become unexciting after going through something traumatic. One 2015 study points out that for many survivors, the stress from trauma dulls the brain's response to rewarding experiences. When you're stressed or traumatized, your brain's fear center, the amygdala, becomes overactive, while the part that helps you regulate emotions, the prefrontal cortex, doesn't really work as well as before. This imbalance affects the production of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. As a result, you stop getting the same rewards from the things you used to enjoy. This is called anhedonia, the inability to experience joy and pleasure. As you continue to struggle with anhedonia, everything starts feeling flat or unexciting, leaving you disconnected from those positive feelings. Chasing slumber. Sleep can be a real struggle for people who have experienced trauma. When you sleep, your brain produces electrical signals called brainwaves, some of which are linked to stress and agitation. After trauma, the brain's stress centers, like the amygdala that we mentioned earlier, become more active, triggering higher levels of these stress-related brainwaves. This affects your brain's ability to get the deep, restorative rest it needs. You might find yourself waking up frequently during the night or struggling to fall asleep at all. A study published in the journal Sleep suggests your brain can also have trouble entering the deeper stages of sleep, like REM, which are crucial for emotional healing and balance. And on top of all that, vivid nightmares might make you want to avoid sleep altogether. A study that examined sleep disturbances in people with PTSD also mentions sleep paralysis occurring as a result of trauma. Have you ever experienced one? Share your experiences in the comments if you feel comfortable. Rewiring. The good news is that the brain is capable of healing, especially with the right tools and support. Trauma-informed therapies like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and CPT, cognitive processing therapy, are specifically designed to help rewire the brain and support recovery. Alongside these therapies, mindfulness practices and healthy social support play a vital role in healing. If you're looking to take steps towards recovery, here are a few practical actions you can try. Establish a routine. Trauma can make everything feel unpredictable. Creating a daily routine can bring stability and a sense of control. Journal your emotions. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process your experiences and make sense of difficult emotions. Limit triggers. Identify situations or things that bring up trauma-related stress and take small steps to reduce your exposure to these triggers. Celebrate small wins. Healing is a journey, so take time to acknowledge and celebrate even the smallest steps forward to stay motivated and connected to your progress. Engage in creative outlets. Art, music, or other creative activities can help you express what words may not be able to capture. Do you relate to any of the signs we've talked about? I sure did. If you do, please remember that what you're experiencing is completely normal. Trauma takes a toll on your brain, and it's not your fault. But just as it got wired to experience these symptoms, it can get rewired again. It is 100% possible for you to one day feel calm, safe, and happy. Thanks so much for watching and for being here. Take care.